Hey guys, Pieguyrulz here, and happy Valentoon's week. Today we have the Rugrats Valentine's Day episode, which is a two-parter, and the two stories, while connected by Valentine's Day and costumes and all that, are really two separate stories. And although I do have some fairly strong memories of the second half of this episode, I completely forgot the first plot existed. I guess it's because it's really not that different from your average episode of Rugrats. Yeah, they say it's Valentine's Day, but really this plot could have been done at any other time of the year. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just think it makes it a little bit less memorable. So in the first plot, Angelica's dressed as Cupid and one of her plunger arrows hits Spike. She tells the babies that whoever gets hit with that arrow has to find their love and spend Valentine's Day with them, or else they'll suffer a broken heart. The babies, not wanting this to happen to Spike, try to set him up with the only other animal around, Fluffy. The second plot is actually a bunch of little mini plots. So the babies and the adults all go to this big costume party for Valentine's Day, and the babies are all sent to this little daycare type area. So the adults are partying in the other room, and Dee Dee and Stu keep trying to be romantic, but only end up talking about their kids. It's actually really sweet how dedicated they are to their family. Chaz is kind of forever alone, and his punch sucks. Angelica and Susie fight over making Valentine's Day cards for Timmy McNulty because apparently they both have a crush on him. This strange girl that looks like Tommy in a wig keeps following Phil around in a plot that goes literally nowhere. And Chucky wants to make a card for his father because, much like his dad, Chucky is also forever alone. It should be noted that this episode came out a few months before Rugrats in Paris, and it's actually kind of foreshadowed here in that Chucky is the only one without a sibling to make him a Valentine's Day card, and Chaz is the only one without a date to the dance. So, yeah, the first half is pretty much your typical Rugrats episode. It's got Angelica misleading the babies misinterpreting a lot of information, there's being some visual puns, and of course a little bit of toilet humor. I agree, Phil, hearts do look a little bit like butts. And there's even a funny subplot where all the male adults get their arms stuck trying to unlock Chaz's rental car. Oh, and there's a nice little moment where Tommy's dad tries to use a screwdriver to solve the problem. And this episode actually provides us with a picture of Tommy's maternal grandmother. She's been mentioned a few times up to this point, but we've never actually seen her. Here we get to see her in pictures, and Grandpa describes her a little bit. It's just a good Rugrats episode. The only thing that doesn't make sense to me is why Fluffy was over Tommy's house in the first place. Like, there is literally no reason. I mean, you don't bring your cat whenever you go and visit someone's house unless they're explicitly pet sitting, and that episode already happened. I guess it's the same kind of cartoon logic that dictates that Tommy randomly has fish in this episode. In pretty much no other episode, but in this one, they're there, and they're in the living room because they're needed to be. And the second episode is just as good as the first. Nothing is groundbreaking here, but it's solid, and it shows that Rugrats can be a nice ensemble piece at times. There's a few sweet moments in regards to Chucky and Chucky's dad, and it's especially sweet when you do know that they are going to get some special people in their lives a little bit down the road. There's not really too much to say here, so I'll give you a few random observations. I like the random background dancers at this dance, where it's all time themed. So you have cavemen and astronauts, all sorts of weird people in costumes. Angelica uses those super cool scissors that make a weird pattern when you cut things with. That's a nice touch right there. I also like the inclusion of McNulty. He's a good character to keep in every now and again. And perhaps the strangest thing of all is this girl that has a crush on Phil. First of all, what creeps me out is that she looks uncannily like Tommy. Like, seriously, she looks like Tommy in a wig. It's really creepy. And then that plot literally goes absolutely nowhere. Like, is she in another episode and I'm just not aware? Because it just, I mean, I guess it makes for a funny scene and it makes Lil protective of her brother, but really it serves no purpose, and it feels like it's gonna go somewhere, and then no it doesn't. So all in all, these are some pretty average episodes. You could probably do to skip them, but hey, if these sound interesting to you, feel free to check them out. They're on iTunes and definitely other places. Pieguyrulz, out.